Hey everyone, I'm Jay, and today's video is going to be on the 72 set of soft pastels by Ohuhu. So let's get started. This is my second, technically, pastel set. My first was the 12 artist pastels that I actually got for a graphic design project, and I enjoyed using them so much that I decided to look for another set with a few more colors because I just felt like what I was trying to use that set for, I wasn't really getting what I wanted. Now, this could be completely user error because I'm a beginner in art, all art forms besides photography. I'm a beginner. So, yeah. In the set that you just saw, it came with both black and white paper, pastel paper, I guess. From what I've seen, like I looked into other videos on this and they had said that paper wasn't like the best, but again, beginner, what do I know? So we're going to be using that paper to actually swatch. And as you can see, it comes with two trays. The bottom tray was a little bit harder to get out. It just kept getting stuck in the corners of the boxes. So here is the paper we're going to be using. Like I said, we're going to be using the white one. All right, so we're gonna get started. I'm just cleaning up the surface because soft pastels get everywhere. All right, so we're gonna get started. That's the first one, that's white. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna tell you the names for all of them. I think they'll get pretty old. So I guess we're just gonna chat. So the Ohuhu set, I felt like they were pretty soft. They were also soft in a crumbly way though, like, sorry, my lock just fell into frame. Anyways, as you'll see later, some of them do end up breaking because of how soft they are. And at the time, I didn't know there was a hard difference between brands of pastels and things of that nature because again, I used Artist Loft ones and then I was like, I want some more. So here I am not knowing of the difference between these things and just being like, these are pretty soft. But again, I do end up acquiring an even softer set that now makes these feel hard. But they're still really nice to work with. They do have a lot of fallout or dust particles. I'm not sure what the technical term for that is. But as you can see at this time, I'm just pushing it off to the side. In the future, I actually repurpose my nail dust collector as a pastel chalk collector. So that was actually a big brain move on my part. I didn't have to spend more money in order to do basically the same thing. Now, of course, it doesn't work probably as good as an actual dust collector, but it's better than me blowing the dust away, which I started doing before I knew you weren't supposed to. But yeah, so we're just here going through, and I'm just enjoying having more than 12 colors. I'm like, wow, they're all so different, but the same, but different. And I'm trying to imagine all the different ways, which at the time I was trying to do a landscape and it really wasn't working for the sunset vibes. So these colors right here, I was so excited. I was like, am I actually gonna get to create a sunset that I want? At this time, I've done a few more landscapes. They've definitely turned out better, but they're not what I want. So definitely more practice. But yeah, as I said, we're just swatching through. I'm showing you the color names I'm going through. I also, at this point in time, didn't consider, not necessarily smudging, but we'll say smudging them in so that you guys can kind of see what it looks like that as well. Something that I also wanted to mention is that when I was using these colors to make the sunset that I was so excited about, the orange basically blended into nothing. I had to layer and layer and layer and layer and layer just to get a little bit of color payoff. So that was actually really disappointing. I don't know if you could tell on the start of that one, but the color didn't really immediately come out. There's a few of them like that where they're not super soft when you first make a line. Well, not even make a line. When you try to place the color down, it kind of skips. It's almost like I can't remember what exactly it was, but the feeling was familiar. It's like when you're trying to use something and you're not getting any color path from it. It's the same principle. And then afterwards, I showed you the tip of one of them after I used it, and I probably should have zoomed in, but I was showing you the tip because it was pretty crumbly, and I was just trying to emphasize that as soft as it is, it's a soft and crumbly texture. But that one didn't break. It was just me showing you what I was trying to get across. That right there is my favorite color. Or is it this one? We'll say both of them. But I love the periwinkle shades of colors. I've learned at this point in time that I don't know if there's not that many shades of purple to create, but the diversity across multiple brands for the shade color purple is atrocious. You'll have 50 million blues and 3 purples. And purple's my favorite, so it's quite unfortunate. Again, as you saw with that, how crumbly it is, it just completely broke away when I pressed down. Again, maybe it's user error. Maybe it was gonna break no matter who used it. But they do break. They are kind of fragile, so keep that in mind. Something I did on here, which doesn't make sense in hindsight, is that for some reason I thought that I had to fit so many on here. So I don't end up using the whole paper, which irks me. I hope it doesn't irk you as bad as it irks me. But it definitely annoys me because I could have laid them out so much better. So it's very unfortunate. But you'll see as I continue, the rows don't end up staying the way they currently are because I realized that I have so much more space and not that many more pastels. As I was saying before, with some of them struggling with the color payout, you can see that I had to go over that previous green one a couple times. For some reason, it was just skipping. And then the green one right after that immediately broke in half in the casing. So at least it stayed together, but it did break in half in the casing. As you start getting into a little bit of the darker shades, what I did find out through some of my research was that the darkest shades in this weren't very dark. So at first, I didn't think it was that big of a deal because I was kind of just like, like I'm probably not even going to use that darker shades anyway. And then I got another set, which I can do a review on if you guys would like me to. It's the Jack Richardson dark value set. I don't remember the number, but they have different dark value sets. So I ended up getting that one. Well, one of them that I can't remember. Sorry. And using it in tandem with this set. And I have an artwork that I did with just this set and then with both sets in tandem. And there is a very noticeable difference. And what I have learned from doing even more research is that values matter. You may not think that having a super dark shade here and there is important, but the difference in realism, and that's not even like color accuracy realism, it just value changes so much in your artwork. And in my opinion, it made it look so much better. So at this time, I'm like, they don't have many darks, but like, it's not the end of the world. And then I was using it and was unsatisfied with my work and started to do more research. And I found a video on values and how color doesn't always matter. What actually matters is the value. So how light or how dark your elements in your photo are. And even though I'm not entirely sure what my final style is going to be, do I want to go for hyperrealism? I don't really know. But what I can tell you is that having darker shades matter a lot. Now the last row that I'll be swatching is actually neon. So this set is pretty cool because it comes with 4 neons. Now I don't actually have a black light so that you can see whether or not it's actually glow in the dark. However, I have seen videos where others people's did glow in the dark. So that's pretty cool. Overall, I really enjoyed this set, and I think it would be a great set to pick up for beginners. The only issue I find is that I don't think it has, like I said, enough dark shades, and because of the fact that some of them kind of disappear into nothingness when you blend them out, I don't think it's a good only set. Like, I still think you'd need another set to supplement it just to get kind of everything that you could possibly go for. But if you're just kind of playing with different colors and stuff like that and trying to be a little bit more rough, I think it's a really great set for that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video.